decided to go curly with my hair. My hair does better when I just put product in it, let it dry naturally, but I was running out of time and I didn't want to come to you guys with completely wet hair, so I diffused it and now it's just frizzy. So I put some up the back so that it wouldn't be like frizzy in my face. Okay. Hello everybody, Shelly here. I have been meaning to do this for quite a while and it seems like every time I want to play with it, I get bumped into doing something else. So I have a bunch of items from the Colourpop Sandstone collection. I skipped the Wild Nothings collection, really like the Garden Variety collection. This one came out, I think, later summer, the Sandstone collection. And when I bought it, I was like, wow, that looks way more like something I would wear. I haven't even tried it yet because it's been sitting here waiting for me to film. So the palette itself is full of these like delicious fall colored shades in here. We've got a couple different greens. I fix my lower camera here, or my lower thing. We've got some greens, we've got a gold, we've got, you know, some warmer tones, even kind of like a more of a purple shade. You've got like a dark charcoal shimmer. You've got some mattes. Let me see, how many mattes do we have in here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 true mattes, and it looks like the rest are maybe either sequins or shimmers, metallic-y kind of shimmers. So I think this will be kind of fun. I really want to do 3 looks with this palette, but I don't have time because I also have 4 of the cream eyeshadows and I have 4 of the lippy sticks and 3 of the liners. What are you guys doing? Is everybody doing okay? Now that the election craziness is, at least the majority of it's past us. The gel liners that I got, I think are actually maybe gel eyeliners, except for maybe this one's a little kind of warm. That may work as a lip liner, but I think the other ones that I got are actually eyeliners. So we're gonna actually look at the 4 lippies that I got and kind of pick one. I did line my lips with Ace Beauty lip liner. This came in a recent boxing subscription. It's just a nude liner. It was the first nude liner that I grabbed because I figured it would probably go with anything. I think it's slightly warm as opposed to like a cool pinky nude. Oh my gosh, I can't even get it open, this one. So the first one of these lippies that we're gonna look at is called Prairie Home. And I wanna think that most of these feel kind of like New Mexico, Arizona, Aztec-y. So this is Prairie Home. It seems pretty dark. Good fall color, huh? Oh yeah. Good fall color so far. 1 down, 3 to go. The next one's called Coyote Ugly. So let's take a look at this. Did you guys see that movie? Feels like it was a while ago. I wouldn't call that ugly, but it seems like it's a little bit warmer than the last one. It's still a nice fall rich color. So that's Coyote Ugly. The next one's called Hike House. So we've got Hike House, and this one looks, you know, these are all bold colors, huh? That one seems like it's a little cooler. Of the 3, that one's definitely the cooler one. I must have bought the whole, it's been a while since I ordered this. I must have bought like several pieces, like bundles of this. Okay, and this last one is called Verde Valley. Isn't Verde like green? This is not a green color, not at all. This is, I'm gonna put this one up here. So that one's Verde Valley. And that one seems like it's the most red out of all of them. Definitely dark, bold, rich colors. I need to figure out which one I want to use today. I think I'm going to start with Hike House, which I think was kind of like the cooler of them. This might be a horrible idea because I think that there aren't too many cooler tones in the eyeshadow palette, but we're going to start with this one. Again, maybe slightly darker than I'm used to. And again, I always feel like my upper lip kind of recedes a little bit. So my fix for that is to grab a little gloss. I'm going to actually use this Wayne Goss gloss. They do feel kind of moussey. They do feel matte. They're pretty shades, but they're also pretty bold. So if you're, you know, if you've switched up to darker shades for fall, then this makes sense. These don't really seem like summer shades, and I think this palette did, or this collection did come out in late summer, early fall, maybe. Let's look at some of these cream shadows. We've got 4 of these cream shadows. I'm sure I bought this as a bundle too, so let's crack open the first one. Okay, so this one's called Agave Bloom, and it looks like this. This looks like a really nice eyeshadow base color. That looks fantastic. And these pots I think are good for getting a brush in there. Sometimes we get these cream eyeshadows that are like a little doe foot applicator. Okay, the next one is called Prickly Poppy. So Prickly Poppy is more of a like dark, rich chocolate brown. You know what, let's swatch these. Maybe even a little bit of milk chocolate. But let's look here. So that's prickly poppy. Oh, that's pretty. Wow. This reminds me of that Too Faced Melted Matte Warm and Fudgy. I don't know how it performed, but man, it went on really well. Let's look at the other one. This is the Agave Bloom was the first one. Yeah, and like I thought, it's more of kind of like almost like a concealer color. These seem like they have just the tiniest amount of sheen to them, but I don't know if that's left over from whatever else is on my fingers. I don't think I've done anything glittery today, but oh my lord. My hair looks a little bit like a Cocker Spaniel today. Okay, and the next one is Zinnia. I've never grown zinnias before. Oh, looks like that. So again, looks like a neutral, kind of a base shade, but I'm thinking this one's a little bit more apricot-y. I'm gonna put that right here. Oh yeah, that's pretty. I don't know if you can really see. My camera's really adjusting right for it. It's definitely warmer than that Agave Bloom. The last one is called Flagstaff. And Flagstaff looks like that. So it looks like I got 2 lighter colors and 2 darker, richer colors. You know what I like about that? Oh, see, that's pretty. That reminds me of the Amaretto shade from the Too Faced Melted Mattes collection. That's really pretty too. If you are suffering from creepy, dry, mature eyelids, this might be a fantastic solution for you doing these cream shadows. You could either, you could literally do 2 of these. I really want to try that, but I also want to get on the palette. So let me know if you guys want me to show you a couple looks with just those. I'm happy to. Just leave me a comment down below. I want to use the Agave Bloom as my eyeshadow base today, just because I kind of want to see what it looks like, but then I also want to see how it performs as an eyeshadow primer. So I'm just using a little brush. I probably got too much, but I'm going to go over all of my movable lid and up into the crease, above the crease. Kind of like that transition area. You know what? Heck, going all the way up to my eyebrow. All right. That seemed to cover very well. That's actually a really pretty shade. I can see using that. And like I said, just another kind of darker shade to give my eyes some depth. And I don't feel like it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel cakey. I may have found some really good cream eyeshadows if these perform as well as they feel right now. I'm trying to remember if I actually saw anybody use these. I'm sure that girl Shay XO did some live swatches because she does that. If you guys don't follow her, you should. She does, like, she has like beautiful, beautiful eyelids and a really pretty eye color. It's a lot of fun to watch her because she does these, she'll try every single color and everything looks beautiful on her. So you end up feeding off of her enthusiasm. I still have the eyeshadow palette and 3 gel liners. What should we do? I think I just want to play with it right now, and you guys are gonna have to let me know. Do you want me to come back and do 3 looks with this palette? I'm trying to decide if I want to do something warm or cool. You guys know me, I love greens, so I kind of want to do something with greens. I'm studying this palette to see if it kind of gives me any indication. Like that first row, you have kind of like your lighter colored neutrals. The second row, we get, your greens, some bronzes, some golds, and then the last one is where you get your richer, darker shades, which is interesting, okay? And then sometimes if I look down a column, I can get an eye look. I don't get a lot of that because it seems like there's a lot of shimmers in here too. That for sure is an eye look. I can see some of the rows being eye looks. So if you did that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you did a different row or different column each day, that's like 6 days without having to reuse a single one of them. So this is a good size palette. I like the size of the pans. Again, the packaging is like your normal regular textured cardboard. It does have the shade names on the back, Colourpop cruelty free. What we've decided about Colourpop products is they're very consistent. So I think you guys are close enough. If I lean in here a little bit, you guys are close enough. I don't know how people do like first impressions with the palette with so many choices, and then they're like, oh yeah, here's one look, I'm done. I'm gonna take the shade called Open Road right here, and I'm gonna start with that. It looks like it's a sequin shade, so I'll probably lose any sparkle that's on it, but I'm gonna use that just above my, or just kind of on my brow bone. So it'll be a little bit of a transition shade, but since it's going into that cream shadow, I think it'll actually be a nice transition shade. See, it barely shows up, but it shows up just ever so slightly, which is kind of what you want with a transition shade, right? The ever so slight gradient ombre effect. There's a little bit of kick up, which again, I tend to tap back into the kick up and pick up the kick up, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Most of my palettes stay relatively clean. Speaking of actually going into a transition shade, I'm going to use this next one over called Vortex right here. And I just got the same brush. So I'm putting that just below my brow bone, just kind of on the downhill slope of that, just above where I want that crease is, because I'm building in that depth. You guys know the drill. You hooded, small, mature eyelid gals, you guys know the optical illusion of making your eyes a little bit brighter and wider and more awake. But I can tell you already that this is such a nice, easy palette. Like, I can see using this palette, reaching for this palette on days that I'm wearing glasses, that I'm not going anywhere, but I just want to put on a little bit of makeup because I know my husband's going to be home, or I'm going to be on Zoom calls or whatever. But if it's a glasses day, already I can tell you that the shades are sheer enough where they're not so like crazy bold. Wow, there's some really pretty purples. Those greens are calling to me though. I'm going to use Grounded. This one right here. It's not the darkest matte in the palette, but it's close. And I'm staying with the same brush, which means if I go to build it up later on, I'm going to have some colors that I probably shouldn't be using here. I'll make a little bit of a mess, but out of all the brushes, I couldn't be bothered to go grab a clean one. Wow, these really blend well together. I saw, I think maybe an Instagram post that Colourpop was, or maybe it was an email that came through, and they were kind of pushing this as a fall palette, and it is still technically fall. I can absolutely see it. I think this one spoke to me so much more than Wild Nothings because I felt like there was some richness to it. I know you guys don't always like to see all new stuff, and I feel like this has been out for a while now. Everybody else has already done their unboxings of it and probably already moved on. And I gotta be honest, I struggle keeping up with all of the new releases that catches my eye. In fact, you know what? I want to do a purchaser pass. I was going to do that in this video, but then I didn't. All right, I think I'm going to go into this. I think it's the darkest of the bronzy shimmers in here on my finger. Oh, so pretty. This is like a copper penny. What color is that? Spring Valley. And I'm kind of just bumping it up next to that darker matte Grounded that I used on the outer corner. So pretty. Okay, I'm officially putting on too many colors because I wanted to try several of the shades. But I think there's so many fantastic options with this palette to only do like, you know, one or two, and that's all you need. I'm really digging this. That color's gorgeous. I know not everybody is into, you know, the warmer, bronzy, russety colors. And I think for me, it just depends on my mood, you know? I need to get into this green. I really want to do this lighter shade of kind of like a champagne-y color, but I'm going to go into this green here as the one closest to the center of my eye, or closest to my tear duct. I'm just going to kind of blend this into the other shades. Okay, one thing I think I've decided about this palette is that it definitely works for daytime, and I can see getting a lot of like work looks out of it as well. So if that's kind of like your majority of your inspiration or your need for picking up a palette, I'm going to go into this lightest, looks like a satin shade up here called Big Bend. And again, a lot of kick up when I use this brush, but I wanted to kind of just sort of tone down that green just a scotch. All right, I'm not somebody who normally does like rainbowy kind of looks. I prefer almost like a monochromatic look for daytime, and then sometimes for nighttime I'll get a little bit more creative with the contrasting colors and complementary colors. Because I've got this green bumped up next to the copper, it feels a little rainbowy for me. But I don't mind it. It's got definitely kind of like a little bit of a fall, but I can see also doing this sort of springtime look too, especially with the yellow and the green. I can see taking advantage of both of those. I really wanted to use this lighter shade of green here too called Desert Sky. It seems like it's a little bit more cooler toned. I'm going to take a little bit of a, oh yeah, I'm going to take this little tiny brush here, take a little bit of that right down here. I didn't need to do this. I think that green is a good one for if you're gonna do more of a cool tone look, like if you're gonna go into this darkest shade here, or this dark plum. I think this green, or this kind of like a super shimmery lavender color would be really pretty with. I have 3 liners that I purchased with this. Of these 3, I've got Wildcat, Juniper, and Red Rock. And I don't know about doing the red as an eyeliner. I think I'm just gonna leave this as a lip liner, especially knowing how dark those lippies are. I think I might just say this is a lip liner and move on to these 2. So it's funny because I think of Juniper, I think of Juniper leaves. It's almost like a purpley kind of dark brown. Let's see here. Yeah, it's not a black, but it's definitely a dark color, and I think it's just a softer shade. And then this Wildcat is more of a kind of gold. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, that's a better liner for areas that you want light. So we're just gonna take a little bit of that here. And we just, now, why did I bother putting on the other stuff, right? That's pretty. I don't know that I would use that like as a normally, like I'm gonna use with this one, but I think it's a good kind of like bringing attention and highlight to the center of your face. And this is that Juniper shade here. I do like their gel eyeliners. I need some mascara. Do we need to blend that out a little bit? Might as well just soften it up a little bit. It doesn't need to be like a harsh line, right? Kind of blend those 2 together down at the bottom. I think that gives me what I wanted. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna put on some mascara. I think I'm just gonna use the Thrive Cosmetics mascara. So I'm gonna put on a quick coat and I'll be right back. All right, you guys. So we just got done playing with the Sandstone collection. I can tell you that the gel eyeliners are fantastic. They're easy to apply. They even buffed out. I am not upset about any of these gel liners. I really do think this one ends up being your lip liner for all of the dark, bold lipsticks that are in this collection. These other 2 are great. You know, this to me is a lighter kind of inner highlighter type shade, and this is more of a deeper, richer, defining your eyes shade, so I really like that. These little eyeshadow pots, I used one of them as an eyeshadow primer today, and I had no issues. The eyeshadows applied perfectly fine, smoothly. Again, it's not like Colourpop can do no wrong, but I can tell you there's no Super Shock in here. There are no glitters in here. There's no pressed glitters in here. This is just, to me, a very wearable palette. I've got a lot of shades I can use for work. Simple, easy, classy, like no fuss, glasses, that kind of thing. I've got a couple that I can make a little bit more interesting and fun. I mean, this yellow, wow, that's really, really pretty and a little scary. This sort of spring green in here. Man, there are just some really, this just seems like it's a really good palette. And I can tell you, I think it went under a lot of people's radar. Colourpop, you know, at the beginning of the whole coronavirus shutdown, you know, they shut down factories. They weren't shipping out anything. They were battening down the hatches. And I can appreciate that. And then I think that they might have had things in the works and that they were scheduled to be spread out. And they ended up boom, 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 releasing new collections. I don't blame them for wanting to get caught up. This one, I think, might have been a little bit more buzzworthy if it would have come through in the appropriate timing as everything else. But this does scream fall to me. Late summer, fall. I've even got spring in here a little bit, especially with this kind of lavendery color. Super pretty. It's almost like it looks lavender in the pan, but then it swatches almost kind of like a champagne color. This looks like almost like a raspberry shimmer. Dark, rich, really pretty. Wow. Yeah, this, I'm going to use this. I'm going to be spending some time getting to know this palette here. So let me know if you guys want me to do 3 looks with it. I'll end up giving you my favorite 3. I am covered in swatches right now. Okay, guys, that's all I wanted to tell you guys about this Colourpop Sandstone collection. I don't buy every single Colourpop collection. This one really spoke to me, and I really like the way it performed. I really like the color story. I think this is actually something that I would use on a regular basis. The lips, I'm glad I have the collection. I think I was sort of expecting them to be a little bit more sheer, more of, I don't want to say lip oil, but not necessarily quite as mousse matte that they are I'm not upset by them. Don't get me wrong. I will find that, I'm sure that I'll find that I end up layering these with something lighter in the middle, giving us, you know, especially so you don't hide your upper lip. You know, it's just, you don't want to do that. All right, you guys, that's all I got to say on this. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. Please subscribe if you're not already. I do try to upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I am not on anybody's PR list. You know, nobody sends me any of this stuff. I'm not affiliated. I'm not endorsed, nothing like that. I might have a discount code in the description box. If you try them and they don't work, let me know, because sometimes they give you new ones and I don't remember to go back in and update them. So if you try something, don't place the order. If you can't find one from an actual YouTuber who's getting monetized, by all means support them. They worked really hard for it and I recommend that. If for some reason you want to use one of my codes down below, I think the only thing I get is maybe a discount. Maybe, if anything, I might get a discount for future purchases and content. I hope you're doing really well, and just keep in mind, it's just makeup. At the end of the day, it washes off, and we're not perfect, but we're trying not to embarrass our family. So I hope you guys are doing really well, and until my next video, bye for now.